I was born to achieve greatness, and so are you. This week on the Born to Achieve Greatness podcast, I'm taking you on a deeply personal journey that started when I was just 6 years old and led me to a life of commitment, dedication, and purpose. At Achieve Movement, we believe that when you find something you love and give it your all, it becomes a guiding force in your life. In this episode, I'm joined by an incredible guest who shares how passion, discipline, and perseverance can transform the lives of our young people. If you can commit to something simple, you can overcome any challenge. Let's talk about turning passion into purpose and unlocking our full potential.
Born to Achieve. Born to Achieve. Welcome to Born to Achieve podcast, the show that inspires and motivates you to unlock your full potential and achieve your goals. With your host, Warren Andrew Pinder. Let's get started on this week's episode of Born to Achieve. Born to Achieve.
Hey everyone, welcome back. Today we're going to be going into a deep dive on something pretty unique. We've got this conversation between Warren, Dominic, and Neil, and they're talking about all this stuff with motivation and the challenges that young men are facing today. It's, I'll be honest, it's not your typical research paper or anything like that.
Yeah.
But the insights here are, I think you're going to find them just amazing.
You know, what really stands out to me is how each of these guys, like, brings their own thing to the table. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We've got Warren, and he's got this, like, contagious passion for Junkanoo.
Right.
And he's using that as this metaphor for achievement, which is really cool.
Yeah.
Then we've got Neil, and he's drawing on his own experiences to motivate young people.
Right.
And then there's Dominic.
Yeah.
He kind of adds another layer to everything with his insights, especially, you know, coming from his background in law enforcement.
It's interesting. Before we jump in, are you familiar with Junkanoo?
I mean, I've heard of it, but I don't know a lot about it. So I'm really curious to hear more about, like, why Warren's so into it and how it ties into all this stuff about motivation and achievement.
Yeah.
That connection seems really interesting.
So picture this.
Okay.
A vibrant cultural parade, tons of energy. You've got elaborate costumes, music that just like gets you moving, and all these intricate dances. That's Junkanoo in a nutshell. It's got deep roots in the history of several Caribbean nations, and actually it traces back to the Ashanti region of Ghana. But it's way more than just a celebration. It's this incredible expression of creativity and community.
Wow, that sounds pretty amazing. But how does Warren tie this whole, like, vibrant festival to the idea of thoughts becoming things?
Yeah.
It seems like there's something deeper going on there than just, you know, colorful costumes and dancing.
Exactly. And that's where it gets really interesting. Warren sees Junkanoo as like the ultimate example of making your dreams a reality. You know, when you think about the meticulous planning, the collaboration, all the resourcefulness that goes into creating those costumes and performances, it's clear that it takes vision.
Oh, yeah.
You've got to have dedication. And above all, this belief that you can bring those ideas to life.
Oh, I see. It's almost like you're watching the creative process play out in front of you.
Yeah.
That initial spark, that idea, it transforms into something incredible through all that hard work and dedication.
Right. And that's how he connects it to this broader idea of personal development. Junkanoo becomes this powerful metaphor for setting a goal, you know, and then actually putting in the work to achieve it.
Yeah.
Bringing your vision to life step by step.
That's a really neat way to look at it.
Yeah.
But does he address the fact that young men today are, you know, up against some really tough challenges?
Yeah.
Especially with things like social media and the influence of the entertainment industry. I mean, there's a lot of pressure on them these days.
Absolutely. And that's where Dominic's perspective is so valuable. He brings up this really important point about the pressure young men feel to chase these professional athletic careers.
Right.
And it's not just a passing comment either.
Yeah.
All three of them, Warren, Dominic, and Neil, they all express concern about this kind of like laser focus on athletics.
Yeah.
You know, like it's the only path to success. They highlight how this can actually prevent young men from exploring other talents and passions they might have.
That makes a lot of sense. It's like society's telling them there's only one way to be successful.
Yeah.
And that makes it harder for them to see beyond those predefined paths.
Right. It's like, you know, you have to discover and nurture your own unique talents and interests. But how can you do that when you're constantly being pushed in one direction?
Exactly.
And that's precisely where Neil's view on self-belief and mentorship becomes so crucial.
So tell me more about Neil. You mentioned he might have a background in law enforcement, right?
Yeah.
How does that play into his approach?
He is all about having a plan, like setting clear goals, visualizing what you want your future to look like. And the thing is, he doesn't just talk about it, he lives it. He's always working with young people, going to schools to give speeches, sharing his own story, inspiring them to dream big, you know.
I bet that personal connection makes a huge difference. When you hear someone who's actually been there, who's overcome obstacles and achieved things, that's got to be incredibly motivating, especially coming from someone they can relate to.
Yeah, exactly. And even though his background isn't explicitly stated, you can just feel it in the way he speaks. There's this blend of authority and empathy, you know.
Yeah.
And it really resonates with these young men. It's like he gets them, their struggles, their hopes, and he truly believes they can achieve great things.
So we have Jen Camus as this metaphor for achieving your goals. We've got the challenges that come from societal pressures. And then we have Neil's focus on self-belief and having a mentor to guide you. It's a really interesting mix.
It is.
But I'm wondering, how do they address this pressure to conform, this idea that there's only one definition of success?
That's a great question, and it's something they wrestle with throughout the entire conversation.
Yeah.
Warren, for example, believes that activities like Junkanoo can provide a real sense of community and accomplishment, and, you know,
Yeah.
that can offer alternative ways for young men to shine, to really stand out.
Right. It's like they're saying we need to expand our definition of success.
Exactly.
To recognize and celebrate all the different talents and contributions that people can make.
And that's where Neil's emphasis on mentorship comes in, I think.
Okay.
He's not just saying set goals. He's saying define what success means to you, find your own path, and then go after it.
I like that. This is getting really interesting. I'm eager to hear more about Neil's approach to mentorship and maybe some of the specific techniques he uses.
I'm with you. Let's dig into those details next.
You know, it's not just about encouraging these young guys to dream. Neil really puts a lot of emphasis on actually having a plan. He's always stressing that they need to be able to visualize their future, break down those big goals into smaller steps,
Right.
and then create a roadmap to get there.
It's like he's saying hope is great, but you got to pair it with a solid strategy.
Right.
And I love how he doesn't sugarcoat it. You know,
Yeah.
He acknowledges that there are going to be roadblocks, challenges along the way,
Right.
but he actually encourages them to see those obstacles as opportunities,
That's interesting.
like fuel to push them even further.
Yeah, I love that. It's not about avoiding the hard stuff. It's about giving them the tools and the mindset to handle those challenges, to come out stronger on the other side.
Exactly.
I'm curious, though, what kind of specific techniques does he use? I mean, does he ever draw on his law enforcement background when he's mentoring these young men?
Oh, absolutely. And it comes through in such a clear way when he's talking.
Uh-huh.
He has this incredible ability to connect with them on their level.
Yeah.
But at the same time, he still commands respect and authority.
It's a tough balance.
Yeah. But he manages to pull it off so well.
I bet that's incredibly powerful for these young guys, especially the ones who maybe haven't had the best role models in their lives.
Right.
Do you remember any specific examples he gave about his approach?
Oh, yeah. He talks about giving these graduation speeches at middle schools, high schools, even colleges, and how he really tailors his message depending on who he's talking to.
Oh, that's smart.
He knows that a one-size-fits-all approach just won't cut it.
No.
So he uses these real-life examples. He tells stories that they can actually connect with and that stick with them long after he's done speaking.
Stories are powerful. I mean, they can connect with people on such a deep level in a way that just explaining concepts can't really do. It's like he's planting these seeds of possibility, showing them what they could achieve if they set their minds to it.
Exactly. And he's constantly emphasizing that, success isn't linear.
He really encourages them to celebrate those small wins, those moments when they overcome a challenge, because those victories build momentum and fuel that self-belief.
Yeah, that's so important. It's so easy to get discouraged if you're just focused on the end goal. But when you take the time to acknowledge and celebrate those smaller steps along the way,
Yeah.
it gives you a sense of progress and helps you build confidence.
Exactly. And, all of this ties back to what Dominic was saying about those negative societal influences.
Right.
Remember he talked about how athletes often get so much praise and validation from such a young age?
Yeah, it sets up this almost impossible standard, right? I mean, if you're a young man and you're not athletically gifted, it's easy to feel like you're not good enough, like you're being overlooked.
Right.
It's like society is telling them that their worth is tied to their physical abilities.
And all three speakers acknowledge that this is a deep-rooted societal issue, you know?
It's not just about providing those alternative pathways. It's about really challenging those deeply held beliefs and broadening the definition of what it means to be successful.
Right. It's about creating a culture where all talents and contributions are valued,
Yes.
where young men feel empowered to pursue their passions regardless of what society might expect of them.
And I think that's where Warren's idea about Junkanoo being this form of mentorship really comes in.
Okay.
He sees it as a space where they can develop those valuable life skills, learn to collaborate, express their creativity, regardless of their athletic ability.
Right. It gives them a platform to showcase their talents, build confidence, and just experience the joy of creating something and achieving something in a supportive environment.
Yeah.
It's really cool how all these different perspectives are coming together.
Me too. It's like they're creating this like multifaceted approach to empowering these young men. We've got Neil focusing on self-belief and having a plan.
Right.
Dominic highlighting the dangers of that narrow definition of success.
Yeah.
And Warren advocating for creative outlets like Junkanoo to foster a sense of community and accomplishment.
They're providing this holistic framework that addresses both the internal and external challenges. It's not just about giving solutions. It's about changing the whole conversation about what it means to succeed.
And that's where I think Warren's perspective on education gets really interesting.
Okay.
He's not just talking about formal schooling. He's talking about this lifelong pursuit of knowledge and personal growth, as a foundation for achieving your goals.
Oh, that's fascinating. It's like he's connecting that idea of thoughts becoming things to education, right?
Yes.
He's suggesting that the more you learn, the more equipped you are to take your vision and make it a reality.
Exactly. He's basically saying you need to feed your mind just as much as you feed your body.
I love that.
And that's where the conversation takes this really interesting turn. It starts to explore the power of imagination, really envisioning the life you want to create. And Warren introduces this concept of achieve land.
Achieve land. I like the sound of that. Tell me more.
Okay, so this is where it gets really exciting. So Warren, he describes this achieve land as like a mental space, right? This internal world where young people can explore their dreams and all these possibilities without any limits.
Okay.
It's almost like a world where, their aspirations can just take off, where anything feels possible.
That's a really cool image. It's like, it's so important for them to cultivate that sense of possibility,
Right.
Especially when you've got all these external pressures making it seem like their dreams are like impossible to reach.
Yeah. And he even talks about these mystical persons.
Mystical person.
Yeah. Who kind of guide you through this achieve land. They offer like hope and encouragement along the way.
Oh, I see.
Like having this personal cheerleading squad pushing you to keep striving, to believe in yourself, even when things get tough.
I love that. It really speaks to the importance of having mentors and surrounding yourself with people who support you, who remind you of what you're capable of, especially when you start to doubt yourself. But it also emphasizes that, self-belief is key, that inner drive that keeps you moving forward.
Absolutely. And what's so interesting is how Warren ties this to the idea that simply having a goal, a vision for your future, is a form of success in itself. It's about recognizing that potential within you and taking ownership of your dreams.
Right. It's like he's shifting the focus from what other people think to what you believe about yourself.
Yeah.
It's not about waiting for someone to give you permission to succeed. It's about taking that first step, saying, this is what I want, and then going after it.
Exactly. And he really emphasizes the importance of having that proactive mindset, that willingness to step outside your comfort zone and pursue those dreams, even if it means going against the grain. He even says at one point, you were born to achieve greatness.
Whoa. That's a powerful statement. It's not just like a feel-good saying.
A call to action. It's this invitation to tap into the potential that we all have inside us. And it circles back to that whole thoughts becoming things idea. He's encouraging these young men to believe that they have the power to shape their own reality, to create the future they want.
Right. It's about understanding that you can turn those thoughts into something real. Hard work and determination.
Right.
And he talks about how important it is to surround yourself with a supportive community, people who lift you up and believe in you.
Yeah. It makes you think about the role we all play
Yeah.
in creating that environment for young people, right?
Yeah.
It's not just about individual effort. It's about working together to create a space where they feel encouraged and empowered to go after their dreams.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, I'm left wondering, what does achieving greatness mean to you? What dreams are you holding on to? What possibilities are you, maybe ignoring or pushing aside? Maybe it's time to take a step back, visualize your own achieve land, and start building the future you want, the future you deserve. This conversation has really sparked my interest in Junkanoo.
Yeah, me too.
I'd love to learn more about it, the history, the cultural significance, how it's used as this tool for mentorship and growth. It sounds fascinating.
I agree. It sounds like there's a whole world to discover there. Who knows? Maybe a future deep dive will take us on that journey into the world of music, costumes, and all that amazing cultural expression.
That would be great.
But until then, keep dreaming, keep believing, and keep striving for greatness, whatever that looks like for you.
Beautifully said. Thanks for taking us through this amazing conversation.
It was my pleasure. And thanks to all of you for joining us on this deep dive. We'll see you next time.
Thank you for tuning in to this episode of Born to Achieve. Born to Achieve. We hope you found it informative, inspiring, and motivating. Born to Achieve. If you enjoyed this episode, please share it with your friends and family. Stay focused on your goals, and we'll see you on the next episode of Born to Achieve.
Take advantage of this incredible opportunity. Sign up today and claim your free ebook at www.borntoachievegreatness.com. Follow us on Facebook at Achieve Movement Inc. Get your copy of Exploring Achieveland, A Journey to Realize Your Dreams, Motivational Stories of Kindness, Inspiring Stories for Kids on Amazon and Kindle.